his his kaya, his his faculties are definitely fading away very fast. And I mean it's a real, you really feel the anicca. You feel, it's like, in the monastery, every morning, every evening, we're chanting Jatipiduka, Jarapiduka, Byahipiduka. It becomes very clear.
Hi, Susan. She's not there. Yeah, she's here.
Good evening, Bante.
Good evening. Do you have anything to share with us?
Today.
Okay,
Yeah, not today.
right.
I think one day you can share more.
Okay. Yeah, waiting for the main star, Rachel. She's the one that requested the topic for tonight's session. Sometimes people suggest a topic and never turn up.
She suggested was Ratana Sutta, right?
Yeah, Ratana Sutta, yeah.
You touched on Metta Sutta yet?
Yeah, last year I think.
Last year you all did,
Yeah. Yeah.
That was during the retreat, right? The 4 sublime states.
Yeah, 4 sublime states.
Bante, why nobody on the screen then? All of them haven't turned up, or some of them are on your video.
They're on. You must change the gallery view. Currently you're viewing speaker view. Okay, so I guess 8:30 maybe Terrence on the kickoff. And Rachel have to watch past episodes.
You too, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 30th November 2021. We are very grateful to have with us Bhante Adhibalo, popularly known as Phra Goh. He was born in July 14, 1985, and was ordained under the Thai Dhamma sect at Santi Forest Monastery, Johor, 2008. He is the current advisor, Buddhist religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network Singapore, and has been conducting our weekly guided meditation since last year. Bhante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now let us compose our minds, pour our palms together, and welcome Bhante. Over to you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Terrence, for the introduction. So we shall start off with the opening chant. Vandana. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. the 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Suramiraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Tonight we are starting a new topic called the Ratana Sutta. So Ratana is the jewels or gems. So it's probably referring to the triple gems, the Ratana. And I believe maybe most of you have heard of this sutta before. So maybe I don't need to explain too much. But anyway, there's like a pretext to this sutta. And according to the story, there's this certain town that is filled with plague. Lots of people dying, and the sort of rotten corpse attracted these spirits that feed on these corpses. So over time, the town gets worse and worse, and the king of the town invited the Buddha and his monks over to try to resolve this pandemic. Similar to what we're having today, and some people nowadays think, hey, why don't we just chant this Ratana Sutta and solve this pandemic, right? But after you hear this pretext of the story, you might find out that there are many factors, to the Buddha sort of resolving this the pandemic at that time, right? So when the Buddha came to town, it's not just the Buddha. The Buddha is always or usually surrounded by guardian deities. Guardian deities. So one of the key figures is this Sakadeva Raja. So it's like the leader of this realm of the 33 kings. It's something like a confederation of different kingdoms in a certain heaven. So it's like the leader. And he also attributed to the chanting. So he's not just the monks chanting, but he himself also chant. But anyway, Venerable Ananda, the Buddha's attendant, was being assigned by the Buddha, right, to go around the city and sprinkle this holy water while reciting this Ratana Sutta. So the Buddha actually recited this power of the truth. Now, what are the qualities of the triple gem? And by this power of truth, may it dispel certain calamities. Right, so the power of truth now has somehow certain reality-changing effect. Like in some of the Jataka tales, there's this story of a bird, right? When the Bodhisattva, before he became a Buddha, in one of his past lives, he was like a bird, and forest caught fire, and by thinking or reciting a certain power of truth, he's able to stop the fire from spreading, and the forest fires. So that is how much merits they can accrue. Right? So people like me don't have the power, don't have the power like the Buddha. He cultivated many lifetimes. So one speech can change a certain reality. So that is one aspect. So he asked Venerable Ananda, who memorized this power of truth, to go around the town and chant and recite this while sprinkling this holy water. And at the end, the spirits that plagued the land, they left, and the town subsequently healed. Yeah, so that is the story, right? So, like people are asking, why nobody recite this in the current pandemic? Many reasons. We don't have the factors, the Buddha's kind of parami, the merits. We may not be able to invite or bring along prominent deities, guardian deities, to help sort of invite the spirits away, right? So there's another aspect, and yeah, mainly that's it. So that is more for the mundane aspect. But if you want to talk about the essence of Buddhist practice, it's again to overcome suffering. Yeah, overcome suffering, not in the literal sense, but in the mental sense, how to detach and emotionally not cling to the suffering. Right. So the purpose of whatever meditation subject, whatever practice, like in this Ratana Sutta, is more faith-based practice, recollecting the triple gems. How can it make the mind calmer? How does it make the mind more detached from this suffering? So actually I'm emphasizing more on the second aspect. So the first aspect, whether it happened or not, I'm not there to verify, but if there's someone who is really meritorious, able to end the pandemic, the plague, please do so, right? Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so the starting opening of the sutta will mention is like announcement. Now, whatever beings are here assembled, whether terrestrial or celestial, may all beings be glad. So there's loving kindness, having goodwill to them first, very important. Moreover, may they attentively listen to what is said. Yeah, so whenever you go to any place, even at your own home, it's good to have thoughts of goodwill. Because sometimes there are unseen beings who sort of take up residence at your place. To them, it's their territory. They may be at your residence longer than you. Before you move in, they are already the owners of that territory. So you move in, and if you have hostile kind of mind, unwholesome mind, they get irritated. So some people complain of their hauntings in their house and stuff like that. The first thing to do is develop loving kindness. You need to develop loving kindness, and if you have, we call this symbiotic kind of relationship, you're very meritorious, you're very wholesome, they benefit from your presence. Like if you, let's say, practice your spirituality, they also will benefit. Either they upgrade, if their spirits, they get a better body or a brighter body, and in turn, they might return the favor. They protect you in certain ways. So it's a win-win kind of relation. So please do practice goodwill, metta. This is like one of the 11 benefits of loving kindness. And devas will protect you. Okay. So in the Buddhist cosmology, earlier on we talked about hauntings. Sometimes when we watch, let's say, movies or get exposed to other cultures, they will attribute hauntings to ghosts. But in at least Theravada cosmology, ghosts cannot do haunting. Hungry ghosts, they cannot do the haunting. At least they cannot harm people. They're so hungry and they are so weak, very weak, cannot harm you. But interestingly, the beings that harm, unseen beings that harm, are the heavenly beings. We call them earthbound deities. Earthbound deities. So they are classified under these Bhuma Devas, or the realm of the four heavenly kings. Four heavenly kings. So that's the realm closest to the human realm. So it is also recorded in many instances, especially in this Ratana Sutta. The four heavenly kings came down and told the Buddha, oh, these four races, these Naga race, the Yakas, and Gandhabas, and I've forgotten what's the last one. So there are four races. Some of them are harmful to humans, and they are predatory in nature. They feed off human flesh and so on. So these beings pose a threat to humans. Not all of them are bad, or some of them are good, but these four heavenly kings came to warn the Buddha that a lot, it's not a small amount, quite a substantial amount of these beings are harmful to humans. And they do not like the Buddha's teaching, especially the 5 precepts. They tell them not to kill. They don't like it. They want to harm and stuff like that. So even heavenly beings, they are very harmful and evil kind of beings. Maybe some religions, they call it demons. But in Buddhist cosmology, everything above human is called devas. So the devas also include the good and bad ones. So the bad ones are more demonic. Okay, so somehow you can make an announcement and ask them to listen to what you say. So in order to make them catch your attention or grab their attention, this announcement has to be important. You cannot be talking gibberish. And they won't want to listen the idle chatter. So this is important announcement, especially if you call out the triple gem. So this is attention-grabbing headlines. Anything with the triple gems, somehow these beings will be keen, because these are like one of the most meritorious things. So these heavenly beings, somehow they also know how to invest and want to upgrade themselves. They don't want to remain there stagnant, or they don't want to fall in the lower realms in the next life. So they look for ways to invest and upgrade. So if you make an announcement, you want to share some Dhamma, make sure it's a good one, and invite them to come and listen. So normally we do that in our chanting, in the evening chanting. There's an invitation to devas, or at the end of this talk, or at the end of this session, there's a dedication of merits to the unseen beings. So these are like codified in official kind of chanting, so it's more standardized. Okay, so the next verse, therefore pay heed all you beings, show your friendliness to humankind, who day and night bring you offerings, hence protect them diligently. So it is acknowledged that even in the Buddha's time, there's a practice of many different faiths, many different belief systems, even Spiritism is one of them. Spiritism, worship of different deities, that's one of them. So people offer and give them offerings. The Buddhists also do offer, but a different kind of offering. We dedicate merits, so that at least is the orthodox kind of explanation. But of course, some rituals may include, in certain cultures, offering of fruits or maybe water offerings to different deities. Okay, next. Okay, so the third verse. Whatever treasure there is here or beyond, or whatever superb jewel is in the heavens, none is equal to the Tathagata. So the Tathagata means the Buddha. Yeah, so I believe the root word Tathata means thusness. Yeah, see things as thus. So it's very similar to like our Vipassana practice. See things as they really are. So in order to truly see things as they really are, a person must have no reaction by desire. When they come into contact with any of the senses, it's just seeing things as they are. Yeah, no reaction, no greed, no anger, no pulling, no pushing. So it's a kind of state of mind. And there's some other suttas which may suggest the Tathagata can be used as a verb and used as a noun. So in this case, usually people refer Tathagata as a noun, yeah? Refer to the Buddha. There's this Snake Simile Sutta where the Tathagata can be used as a noun, as a verb, sorry. They were describing a certain monk passing away, and the Buddha mentioned the mind has reached thusness. And the monk has reached thusness, and these Maras and certain demons want to look for his consciousness, unable to find that monk's consciousness because he has attained Nibbana. So the thusness can be applied to that state of mind. Yeah? So that would probably be the Buddha quality, Tathagata. Verily, in the Buddha is this superb jewel. By virtue of this truth, may there be well-being. Right, so this is by power of the truth, virtue of the truth, may there be well-being. So these words must be spoken with conviction. You have to understand the meaning, and the true conviction would be having this state of mind, this thusness. Only when a person achieves this thusness, then they are 100% convinced this is real. They know it's real, they experience that state of mind. So unless we reach there, we'll be just having or reciting this verse by faith. We believe, right? We believe that this Tathagata or this state of mind is the highest. So at least I'm going through this in English. Sometimes when we chant, especially in Pali, hopefully there's translation so that you can understand what you're chanting. But if there's no translation and you just chant the Pali, may not be so effective unless you know the Pali language. So the whole idea is to reflect on this quality and have faith in the Buddha, in the triple gems. Very important. So in order to have the faith, you have to understand what is this Tathagata about, what is the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha about. If not, if you just have no understanding, any uneducated person who hasn't attended any Buddhist classes, have no understanding of Buddhism, also can have respect and faith in the triple gem. And they just put their palms together and they pai and they pray. They can have that too. So that kind of faith is very different from a person who theoretically understands what is a triple gem. And those who practice the teachings and have understood it at a certain level, realized at a certain level, is even better than those who understand in theory. Right? So there are different degrees to this conviction. So we call this the five faculties. So the first faculty is faith. We talk about this in the 37 factors of enlightenment. You need to have faith. Second factor, you need to have effort. So it's not just chanting once and then you forget about it. So this is a contemplation. You have to contemplate what is the virtue of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So you need to have the effort, repetition, repeat over and over again. And the third factor will be mindfulness. You need to be mindful not just of this chant, but the four foundations of mindfulness. Your bodily activities you can recollect in all postures, standing, sitting, walking, lying down, in all your activities, in your work. So this is mindfulness, mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feeling. When you chant, some people are distracted, the mouth can be chanting the words, but the mind all over the place. So you need to be mindful of the state of mind. Whether your mind is distracted or is it concentrated, mindful of your feelings. Whether it's irritated, are you agitated? You just chant for the sake of chanting to fulfill your homework or your assignment, your task given by your Dhamma teacher, and you just chant, but in your heart not willing, not willing to chant. You have some other assignments in mind to do, other tasks to do, and not willing. So some irritation, unpleasant feeling, right? So you need to be aware of this feeling, right? Aware of state of mind and aware of the Dhamma. So you have to know all these feelings change, all these states of mind change, and hopefully, you can understand impermanence through this practice. So a person recollect, then using this recollection as an anchor point, as a control. Whenever the mind jumps, then you bring back to that control environment. Runs around again, bring back to the control environment. Then from there, when it keeps on repeating this process, you understand the nature of the mind. So mindfulness is there, very important. And the fourth factor, spiritual faculty, would be this concentration. So this process of pulling the mind back to the chanting will develop concentration. Right. So depending on how you want to do the chant, may lead to either samatha kind of concentration or the vipassana kind of concentration. So if a person observes this arising and passing all the time, they will develop an insight, a wisdom kind of concentration. If they want to just focus on the repetition, mantra like kind of chant for the sake of stilling the mind, then it will develop more towards the samatha kind of concentration. So either way, both stills the mind, and eventually one will develop wisdom. So for those who are already engaged in the vipassana path, so that is already developing wisdom. For those who are doing the samatha path, they will take some time to observe the trend of the mind running and coming back, and if they're consistent enough, they will develop this wisdom. Right? So these are the five faculties I don't want to take too long. Now it's 9 o'clock. Maybe move on to the next slide. Okay, so the arrangement of this particular sutta is not like really in order. It's not like describing the Buddha first and the Dhamma and Sangha. Sometimes they have the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, then some Dhamma, then sometimes they repeat the Sangha. So it's not really in order. Yeah? So we'll go through more of that next week, right? This one quite lengthy. Yeah? So now it's 9 o'clock. I'll open the floor to Q&A. So what we've covered basically is again a revision of the 5 faculties, how that's application of recollection is very important, and this is not a sutta that is for the sake of chanting. You need to recollect the actual meaning to arise these 5 faculties. Okay, so I open the floor, Q&A. Any questions?
I'll ask about the 4 heavenly kings.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that they say one of the kings will actually visit on Opposata Day to check on the behavior of the people, right? On the human beings, how they behave. Is that true?
Yeah, I heard of that before. I'm not sure whether it's from the suttas or from the commentaries.
Oh,
Then
okay.
these 4 heavenly kings, you go and report to this Saka. Yeah. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, not so important.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, all right. Right, anyone else?
Bhante,
Yes, Teresa.
there's this sutta, the Chakku Sutta, SN25, the Chakku
Okay.
Sutta, where it mentioned about faith follower and the Dhamma follower.
Yeah.
I'm quite unsure about the faith follower, because if faith follower, he's incapable of doing any bad deeds. So therefore, they won't be reborn in hell, animal rhyme, all this. But does he realize the fruit of stream entry, like the Dhamma follower? Because Dhamma follower, definitely, when you study the Dhamma, you are in the stream. And chances of being Satipatthana is higher. But the faith follower might be a bit shaky, right? Does he really will realize the fruit of stream entry or not?
I guess it's possible. It's possible. There are cases of stream enterers who are still fickle-minded, still have doubt, have fear on which realm they will be reborn. It's not like a person, after they achieve this Satipatthana, they become omniscient. They do not become like an encyclopedia and they know everything. No. So they also have this fear. You can reference this to this, what's his name again? Maha Nama Sutta, yeah, this SN
yes.
Maha Nama, yeah, 55 point something, I've forgotten. But anyway, he's about him having fear of death, afraid of a traffic accident.
Oh yeah,
Cross the road in a town.
Also, when he went to the temple at night, he passed through some darkness. He's afraid to be killed.
Yeah. So the Buddha assured him, no, he won't be reborn in the lower realms, no. And so there are different degrees of this Sotapanna. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. So I think it's very common. Maybe, who knows, some people may have attained, but they do not know. There's no way of certification.
But I think it's safer to be a Dhamma follower. At least we study the Sutta, we listen to the Dhamma talks.
Yeah, it's if being Singaporean, we need to be kiasu a bit. We do all the practices.
Yeah.
Study is one thing, you need to practice and actualize. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, no problem. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, Upatissa, something.
Bante, if okay, just now you were mentioning about the Metta Sutta, the 11 in Anguttara Nikaya Book of 11. Okay, there are altogether 11 benefits that are listed out. If
Yeah.
I remember correctly, number 7 was talking about to be protected against fire, poison, and what's the third one?
Weapons.
The sword. Yes, exactly. That is the part that I always get confused. I listen to, different Bantes will give different explanation. Can we have your explanation, please?
Yeah, I think a lot has to do with language and interpretation of the meaning. So like a lot of times when the Buddha talk about he want to beat the drum of deathlessness, overcome aging and death. But physically, the Buddha also go through aging and passing away. So probably this verse means it's a mental kind of protection from this fire, poison, and weapons. So normally I tell people not to take everything literally. If you straight away think you practice metta, okay, let's try drinking poison and putting your hand in the fire. No, it doesn't work like that. Yeah? Maybe on very rare occasions, like in the Sutta, they mentioned one case that this particular lady, I think she's a servant or a slave or whatever, she got protected from this boiling water from a certain jealous, I'm not sure is it the actual wife or the whoever of the rich merchant. So that is a rare case, yeah. But most of the other case studies, you have like Arahants beaten to death, Venerable Moggallana beaten to death, and Arahant. Yeah, so Buddha also got injured. The Devadatta stone cut his foot. So is the Buddha, perfect one, still can get injured. So you cannot
Even
take
Venerable
that.
Sariputta.
Yeah, Sariputta, why?
Venerable Sariputta was hit in the head.
Yeah, correct, by the Yaka. Yeah. So you, based on these case studies, I think it's good to say that that particular benefit of the metta is not a physical one. It's more of mental kind of detachment. Okay. All right, any other questions?
Human.
Terence,
From Facebook. How would the heavenly devas be harmful to humans? Wouldn't they suffer due to karma if they do killing or advocate killing?
Yes, some of the heavenly beings do that. Certain realms, they go to war, they wage war on each other. So there are killing involved, some fighting, some killing involved, and specifically mentioned in this this Attanatiya Sutta, like I mentioned earlier on, the 4 heavenly kings explicitly mentioned these beings and the yakas and so on. Some of them harm humans, they feed on human flesh and stuff like that. So not all of them are kind or friendly to humans. But this is the Buddhist cosmology, way of classification. Probably they've done certain merits in the past that allow them to be reborn in that realm, but not all the defilements are overcome. Just like performing certain good deeds, but still has habitual tendency of anger and so on. Yeah.
Okay, Bhante, continuing on that topic, may I check how would the heavenly devas be born as heavenly devas if they wish to harm human beings? Would they be the subject to karma vipaka? And if killing is one of the precepts that cannot be done, why would the heavenly being do that?
Yeah, certain the lower realms of devas, they still do that. They still have desires. No, they still even have sexual desires no, and have anger. So no, these are the lower realm devas. They still have that. And if they can talk about karmic cause and effect, yes, if they commit wholesome or unwholesome actions, there will be repercussions. Yeah. Any other questions from the floor on the Facebook?
Okay, I think this one, I think Bhante explained at the beginning of the talk. Why after chanting the Ratana Sutta continuously every day by Buddhist Society and Association for over a year, the COVID-19 pandemic still prevails without any end in this world? Why is that so? Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, so in line with the essence of Buddhist teachings, just like what we mentioned earlier on in the benefits of metta chanting, it is not to literally, give you healing abilities. That's not the aim of Dhamma teaching. Yeah, it's not to make you young forever, not to make you free from hunger forever. Not like that. It's although it's a mental wish, we do wish that wish you free from suffering, wish you free from harm. The Buddhist goal is to transcend this suffering, cross the other shore, abandon this shore actually. And so yeah, we do chanting is to gain enough merit so that the mind can have emotional kind of contentment, free from these pains. So that is ultimately the we call it supramundane path. But if you want to talk about the mundane aspect, there are many other factors. Now, one modern times you can't do it. Who knows? Maybe this COVID-19 may not be an actual pandemic. They haven't isolated the virus. But yeah, aside from that, if you do not believe, in the past, the Buddha, he actually very different. He has the parami, he has his merits, and by the power of his truth, yeah, he has this rippling effect to change certain reality. So that's the ability of the Buddha. And also, there are other guardian deities that came along to usher these harmful spirits away. So these are a few of the factors which may be lacking in this current pandemic. Yeah? So I try to explain both the mundane and the supramundane aspect. So the mundane aspect requires some faith to believe whether this really occurred in the Buddha's time. So if you believe, that's good. If you don't believe, that's also fine. But ultimately, we talk about how to protect your own mind. Yeah? Okay, any other issues? Okay, if there's no issues, we have a break for 5 minutes. Then we come back for the guided meditation session. All right. Okay, I'm back. Let's see whether the rest are ready. Okay, any other questions so far during the break? Okay, if not, then we can start. Yeah? So you find a comfortable sitting position, make sure your back is upright. And the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, so what we are doing now is we are recollecting the Buddha actually. In order to have right view, you have to understand, hey, what's the purpose of practice? So you take the Buddha as the benchmark, as the reference point. And we think of him as a great teacher. And what has he been teaching? He's been teaching the Four Noble Truths, and suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, and the path leading to the end of suffering. So as disciples of the Buddha, in order to honor the Buddha, we need to practice the teachings. That is the highest gift to the Buddha. It is not merely offering flowers, words of praise. That's not important. And the Buddha said these are very trivial stuff. He says the highest gift to him is if one practices the Dhamma. If one practices the Dhamma, and one can see the Buddha. So in order to practice with that in mind, or with that tone set in mind, then we can carry on body contemplations, and we start to wish the hairs well and happy, hairs of the head, hairs of the body, may they be well and happy. So by wishing these hairs well and happy, practicing right thought, which is the Eightfold Path, overcome this craving of aversion. And every time we move to a new area of hair, new patch of hair, that is new contact, new set of aggregates, new formations, a new encounter with the five aggregates, then we need to reapply right thought. So new patch of hair, well and happy, new patch of hair, well and happy. Unless your mind has reached thusness, then we should still need to continue generating right thought all the time, all this right effort. And once you have reached all the hairs, well and happy, then we can think of impermanence. All these hairs go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you think of the hairs growing and falling many, many times, many cycles. And this thought of impermanence is to overcome greed and attachment. When you think of these images of the hair growing and falling, there are also other factors, yeah? Not just the image of the hairs, which is a kind of subtle form, but there's also feelings. Are the feelings same or are they changing? Are the perceptions to the hair, are they stagnant or are they changing? Perceptions are mainly the labels, and the labels we give to the hair: young hair, old hair, white hair, hair that's fallen off. All these are labels. Yeah? And call it consciousness. Is the mood same, or the emotion same or changing towards the images of the hair? Are they full of clinging, or are they calm, quiet, or is it joyful? So these are different states of consciousness or different states of mind. So we use the mindfulness of the body, right, the image of the hairs as an anchor point. Sometimes we follow the emotion, we might be carried away, even though the image is still a mental image, but they consider it as mindfulness of the body. And we can ask ourselves, are these hairs or the mental factors associated with the hairs, are they truly self? Can you tell the hairs not to go through birth and death? And the next part of the body, we are going to visualize the nails, fingernails and toenails. We wish it well and happy. And all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness and passing away. And we keep thinking of the nails growing and falling, many, many cycles. And we can reflect by asking, are these nails or the mental factors associated with the nails truly self? Can we tell them not to go through birth and death? And next we can visualize the teeth inside our oral cavity. We wish all the teeth well and happy, all the upper rows of teeth, may they be well and happy, and all the lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. all these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So we think of the impermanence of teeth, and the teeth growing and falling, or you can think of the teeth cells and bone cells of the teeth growing and falling many times. And we can reflect by asking ourselves, are the teeth truly self? And we tell the teeth not to go through birth and death. And next we can think or visualize on the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy from head to toe. May all the skin be well and happy. And every time we think of a new patch of skin, we keep regenerating the thought of loving kindness. New patch of skin well and happy. New patch of skin well and happy. And all these hairs go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And think of the hairs growing and falling, many cycles. we can reflect by asking ourselves, are these skin or the mental factors associated with the skin, are they truly self? And you tell them not to go through this birth and death. And we are moving on to the second phase of meditation, that is the radiating of loving kindness. And for this routine, there is no need to visualize and just feeling the sensations. So we wish all beings in front well and happy. So whatever sensations that appear in front, we just wish it well and happy. So there's no need to superimpose or imagine, speculate what kind of beings are in front. As long as you send your attention in front, all beings in front will be encompassed with that state of mind. You just focus on the right thought and detachment, which is loving kindness. You don't want to send greed and anger to the front. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings behind well and happy. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings on the left well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. Next, we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. Then we wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And next we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. So this time round we wish the entire body well and happy. Whatever sensations that arise, we wish them well and happy. So these sensations can be classified as the four elements. So the earth element represents any hard or soft sensations. Fire element represents any hot or cold sensations. Wind element represents any fast or slow movements. And the water element represents any moisture. So all these sensations, no need to deliberately generate them. Let them arise naturally by itself. And as long as any sensation occur, we just wish it well and happy. So we let this be a real-time observation, and no superimposition, no imagination, no clinging, no pushing away. Treat all sensations as passerby. So every sensation, well and happy, new sensation arise, well and happy. Okay, so this is just loving kindness within a restricted area. So now we practice loving kindness in a more expanded kind of area. Try to train a more boundless state of mind. So we start to wish all beings in all directions, may they be well and happy. So a bigger area means more contact, more sensations, so more things to wish loving kindness. So any sensation near or far, small or large area, you just wish it well and happy. No need to deliberately push. A gentle wish. So boundless doesn't mean push it far and wide. If there's any tension, any straining of the mind, and that is dukkha, that is suffering. So the boundlessness we are aiming for is reduction of craving. So the more we generate loving kindness, the more the mind should settle into a kind of stillness, and within that stillness, hopefully the boundaries collapse, boundaries of craving, matter how pleasant or how peaceful you experience, that is just a byproduct. Keep on generating loving kindness for every sensation. Say, keep the Dharma wheel rolling, keep it spinning. Just like riding a bicycle, to keep the bicycle balanced, you need to keep pedaling. Once you stop pedaling and you hold on to any nice emotion, then the bicycle will fall. So the wheel will fall either left or right side. So this is just using loving kindness to develop concentration or calm. And next we can add some insight or some wisdom into the practice. And we are going to reflect all beings, all dharmas, all sensations, they arise and they pass away. So we are still observing the same sensations, but this time round we are observing how it arises, how it passes away, and we keep reflecting impermanence. So the same principle, keep pedaling the Dharma wheel of impermanence. Any nice emotion, pleasant emotion, and just passing scenery. Okay, so this using loving kindness to cultivate both concentration and wisdom. And next we are moving to the next sublime state, which is compassion. And we are wishing all beings, may they be free from suffering, especially in the pandemic. So there's no need to over-imagine any scenario. You just observe the here and now sensations, whatever sensation arise, may it be free from suffering. Sensation arise, may it be free from suffering. Okay, so if the mind is calmer, and if you do it correctly, this compassion should be quite pleasant and calm. Yeah? And if we over-imagine any scenario, it will stray to this passionate grief. Somebody in trouble, we're unable to help them. Yeah, then we get all this depression and sadness. Okay, and next we're adding some insight to this compassion and reflect how to truly overcome this suffering. That is to practice detachment. We keep observing impermanence of all sensations, how they arise and pass away, how they arise and pass away. And before we conclude the session, just a gentle reminder that we can maintain this boundless, immeasurable, either loving kindness or compassion, be it standing, sitting, walking, or lying down. Okay, and with that in mind, we can open our eyes. Even though we end the formal meditation, we are informally meditating all the time. Okay, any issues, any problems? Everyone okay? Okay, there's no issues, then we move on. Okay, so now the mind is more meritorious than the effect of calling out to the unseen beings may be more effective. Huh? So we dedicate merits to these unseen beings. Akasata Chukumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyang Taranumoditva Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasana Etavata Cha Amhihi Sampadang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Deva Sabbe Bhuta Sabbe Sata Numodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya. Transference of merits to departed. Idang nyati nam hotu sukita hotu nyatayo. Idang nyati nam hotu sukita hotu nyatayo. Idang nyati nam hotu sukita hotu nyatayo. And aspiration, imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yavani bana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, that's it. Any announcements from Terence?
Nothing, Bante.
Okay, if there's no issues, then good night.
Thank you,
See you all
Bante.
next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Bante.
No
Good night.
problem.
Sadhu,
Good night.
sadhu, sadhu.